Ozzy, say hi. He's like, hello. Oh, isn't he just scrumptious? He's scrumptious. Alright, so Ozzy is going to get a comb cut, Liger cut. Keeps the head in the mane, and then body is just this all the same length all over, right? Like a tiger. So I'm going to combine the two, and then it's called a Liger, right? Lots of moving parts to this style. Start with the sanitary clip. Using the One Is All safety clipper set on the 1.4 setting, which is the closest to the 10 blade, right? So that's done. Nails. We're gonna do nails. Wow. Notice how we can just move these cats around so easily. Why? Because that's a non-skid surface, right? By design, right? By design. So the cat can't get any kind of traction and try to, you know, dig in with their nails or do, you know. So, non-skid surface, slippery, you want, helps with cat grooming, right? One more nail. You're a big boy. Ragdoll cats are probably one of the biggest cat breeds out there, right? He's exceptionally substantial. Probably normal for his breed type, but he's big and beautiful. He's like, I am? Yeah, you're big and beautiful. Alright, initial cut. She wants him fuzzy. Long and fuzzy, so he's not cold for the winter. So we're going to start with the yellow comb attachment and go in reverse. I do all of my initial cut with the comb attachment styles in reverse for the initial cut down, right? Basically, you just want to match the length on the body to the length that's already on the legs. Make it one uniform length all over, right? He's like, that feels good. It does? Yeah. That's good. That's awesome. Wow. This is where you'll usually see a cat groomer with a vacuum attachment called a clipper vac. I never got into using one of those, so I'm gonna do this style without one. I don't know if it's gonna make it easier or not. I should get one just to see. The problem is they're over $1,000, right? So why would I want to spend $1,000 when I don't even know if it's going to work out better or not from what I'm already used to doing, right? So, see, lovey. I could buy one secondhand maybe, just to see. It's not a bad idea. Anyway, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing out in YouTube land? Can you hear me okay? I got my speaker on, so I can hear what you're saying in the comment section, right? Alright, we're going to switch to the orange, one step shorter, right? One step shorter. Wow. Wow. Get him on his side. Here we go. Could he be any more accommodating? He's like, no, not really. Yee. Go. Wee. Wow. Should I do the two? Probably. But yeah, I usually go a little shorter underneath, right? Hello. How are you? Hi, hi. That's nice. What? No idea. No idea what you're saying. Alright, other side. This is a very rough cut. So you're just going to have to use your imagination for now regarding what he's going to look like. He's going to be super cute. Super, super duper cute. Super, super duper cute. He's like a king. Really? With a comb attachment, you stupid idiot. You're such an idiot. Do you even know what you just said? You just called out to the world that you know nothing about anything about grooming, right? A comb attachment is over the blade, so the blade doesn't even touch the cat, right? But keep talking. Keep talking. We just started this video, so let's start looking for where all the negatives are, right? Here. How about if I just do one better and remove all annoying idiots? There you go. Bye-bye. That'll help. Right? Anyway, back to this guy. We're putting him in a comb attachment style. Here at our salon, we call it the Liger. In the pet industry, it's referred to as like a teddy bear cut. A teddy bear cut is going to be a little vague for a bunch of owners or groomers, because that could mean the owner wants the mane or doesn't want the mane. It's very vague. So we just wanted to be a little bit clearer when people start asking for these comb attachments, right? So we separated out what is a tiger cut with no mane and what is a style with the mane. So we did tiger and liger, right? So there's a little bit of a method to our madness, but anyway, let's go in with the tiger paws. It's all included. All those toe tufts come off. If you were to ask for this service request by itself, it would be called perfect paws. Something you don't normally do automatically, like as in with dog grooming, right? With cats, you never ever cut off the toe tufts without asking the owner. Usually it's something the owner will request, but you don't just take it upon yourself to take those toe tufts off if you're grooming a cat, right? Happens all the time. Because you know 90% of groomers who advertise cat grooming have no actual training for cat grooming, so it does happen all the time. But here's what happens when you take the toe tufts off of the wrong cat without asking. The owner loses their mind. Yeah, literally loses their mind. Yipper. Waka waka. Are we no touching allowed on the toes? He's like, no. Really? How about the front ones? He's like, that's all right. Not as bad. Okay. Mm-mm. There. All right. Other one. Other one. Wee-hee. Round and around and around we go. There we go. There we go. Waka waka. Good laddie. Okay, now, should we just throw them in the tub now, or should we try and do a bit more of a pre-cut so he's a little bit closer to the style before the bath? So you can do it before or after, right? Really up to you, right? It's just so much easier to sculpt fur after it's been cleaned, right? So you wanting to put the cat into more of a cut or style before the bath? Yeah, sure. You could do it that way, right? But you're just gonna have to do it all over again, right? Yeah, you're gonna be doing it all over again. Where is it? Here we go. Waka waka. Here we go. Wow. Hee. He's not really cooperating. So let's get him off his feet. Try and keep him from walking away. Yeah, do it this way. Yeah, we're just gonna wait until after his fur is clean before we do this sculpting, right? Yeah. All right, take a nice brush. Try and work your brush through the entire coat. The goal is to get a nice comb all the way through before the bath. It's gonna get a better clean and a more beautiful style, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, and roll, wow. That means that comb attachment is going to just glide right through all of this coat super easily, right? Wow. You need it. Other side? Wow. Wow. Alright. Wow. Wow. Roly poly. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had some hair. Didn't cut it all off, right? There. goes all the way through everything. There. And tail. And tail. Yep, tail is good. Awesome. Awesome possum. Awesome possum. Wow. Isn't he gorgeous? Wow. Wee. He's glorious. You are glorious. He's like, I am? Yes, you are. Right this way. He's like, what are we doing now? What are we doing now? There we go. Oh, you big lug. You big lug. There. Wow. Wow. Talk to your vet about GABA. It's been around for 20 years. It'll block his fight or flight signal and allow you to groom your cat at low stress levels, right? Wow, 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 wow. You're like, say what now? Oz. His name is Oz. As in the Wizard of Oz? Yeah. This is Oz. Waka waka. Alright, ready, steady, here we go. I don't know if he needs a happy hoodie or not. Alright, let's get the water nice and warm. Alright, Carol, go to work. Waka waka, here we go. Shampoo's got a little bit of a chill, so you always have that hot water going. Just keep everything nice and warm and comfortable, right? Hello, how are you? Alright. So while that degreaser is marinating up on his head and mane, we're going to start washing his body, right? And his tail. That's some F&T. A little bit of Orvis. That's like liquid Chuds bar, right? You like say what now? Yeah. Yipper. Alright, nice and warm. You can even put the shampoo right on the glove. Right? Little glove for washing your cat if it's getting a comb cut. It's going to help clean that coat a lot better than if you just used your own hands, right? Wee-hee. Wow. 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 Good laddie. Good laddie. Wee-hee. He's like, that feels good. I know. Alright, let's turn you around. Wow. He's like, that was fun. Do it again. We will. We'll do it again. Hee-hee. Wow. Oh, are you leaving? He's like, I was thinking about it. Alright, Brush, brush, brush. A little rabbit brush. It's the secret to a beautiful comb cut. Just constantly brushing that coat out. Okay. Before the bath, during the bath, after the bath. Yeah. Yipper. Alright, finishing shampoo. We're going to use a texturizer. The texturizer shampoo is perfect when you're doing a comb cut, right? Which is what a Liger cut is, right? So this is the Le Pooch Puppy. I use the female scented La Pooch version, right? Beautiful, beautiful shampoo. Wee-hee. Wow. That off. Wee-hee. Alright, ready, steady, here we go. Let's start on your face and your name. He said, yeah, okay. Sounds like a plan. Good buddy. We're rinsing out the degreaser first. Wow. 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 He's like, that feels nice. I know. Here we go. And your little chickies. And your little chin chin chin. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Other cheek. Good buddy. Here we go. He's got a glorious mane. There's no end to your beauty. There's no end to it. You're the most beautiful cat in the whole world. He's like, I am? Huh. Go figure. Mm-hmm. You got girlfriend? You got girlfriend? Hmm? He's like, no. Nothing? No, not really. Guess that happens when you get neutered, huh? He's like, what's that? Never you mind. Never you mind. Wee. Ding, ding, ding. Correcto mundo. Finally, someone said something that's actually correct, right? Yeah. See ya. Ding, ding, ding. Another one bites the dust, and another one bites. Another one bites the dust. Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm. Good buddy. All right. That was quick and fast and easy, right? Why, thank you. Is that 2 skulls? Oh, well, that one had to go. I took care of it, 2 skulls. Yeah, you don't get to come on here and insult me. Well, you think that's a good idea. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. You came to the wrong channel. Yeah, maybe you should talk to your vet about that one. Right? Or if you choose, you just stay in the dark. You don't have to know, right? You get the rest of your life not knowing you could have easily washed your cats at low stress levels. Did you make it yourself, two skulls? Homemade chili, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. And use that natural temperament. That's what the NT stands for in the title of the video. Natural temperament, right? He's a chef. You're married to a chef. Oh, I'm jealous. I'm jealous now. I was gonna say we could play husband swap, but yeah, I don't have one, so oh well. Wasn't that the best show ever? Wife swap. Love that show. Alrighty then. And rinse. And rinse. And rinse. And rinse. Hello. Hi. How are you? Wrong. Somebody said they thought this was a domestic Siamese. No. Nope, 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 nope. He's a ragdoll. Wow. Yipper. Seal point ragdoll. There we go. You did it. You did it. He said I did. You're a little late on your on wet meow. You're a little late on the on wet meow. He said, well, at least I got one or two off. Yeah, I know. A little late though. Usually ragdolls have a very mournful I'm wet meow. That was shockingly good. That was shockingly good. You know, at one point I actually banned ragdolls from going live because they couldn't stop crying during their bath. So that is not a typical ragdoll bath. Wrong. Not a Siamese. He's a ragdoll. Wee-hee. Wow. 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 Whee. Alright. Let's flush his eyes. Wow. And then his ears. Ding, ding, ding. Yep, you got it. You got it. And he's huge. He's huge. That big boy. Alright, let's get you out of the wet towel. Right? We're going to do 2 towel wraps. Maximize his dryness in his coat. There we go. There. So should we just towel dry him? Because he's so sweet. This is something you'll never really see me do. Because cats normally hate this. Most cats normally hate this. So I usually just rely on a towel wrap. Right? But he's so accommodating. Let's do it. Let's do it. Wee-hee. Is there anything that you mind, little boy? He's like, not really. Must be nice. Nothing bothers you at all? Do 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 do. Alright, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do 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 do. Wee. You're doing it. You're doing it. Good daddy. Wow. Ready, steady, here we go. Good daddy. What's it down in here? Something going on down in there. Let's get it. Let's get it. There, got it. Cool take. Alright. Wow. This step you're probably not going to see at a grooming salon, because this is when the cat is normally getting blown out, right? But a lot of you out there don't even have a blowout dryer, so this would be your next step, right? Do. Hee. You don't like that. He's on his feet. So what happens when cats are on their feet? They start to go for a walk. So get them off their feet. It's the opposite of dog grooming. Dog grooming, the dog's on their feet, but they usually have a harness around their neck, right? Can't go anywhere, so they don't even try most of the time, right? He's back on his feet, which means he's now going for a walk, right? Where? See how that works? He's really trying. All right, put him back off his feet. There. and then try it again. See that? That's called a technique, people. Get the cat off their feet. Could come in handy for someone. Alright, there you go. Set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. Alright, so I killed my dryer box, so we're trying this one out. I had it on standby. I don't even know how it works. Tandem grooming. Tandem grooming is when two people groom a cat, right? Alright, let's see if we can figure out how to turn that dryer box on. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Whee! What do you think, buddy? Yes, trained cat groomers are taught and trained to be able to groom the cat by themselves, right? But that doesn't mean you can't use tandem grooming. And in some cases, it's going to work out better for you, right? Especially if you're... that's the one technique that I can't use. It's a technique, right? So it's the one technique that I can't offer because we don't have staff, right? By design. Yeah. It's alright. It's alright. We're just putting him in there to give him a little bit of downtime. Yeah. Gee, I don't know, Silver. Someone's asking, why do you put the cat in the dryer box? This is just to give you all a rough idea of the people who are going to watch this video later. They're asking why I would want to put a wet cat in a dryer box. Does that even require an answer? Does that require an answer? Or can we all just figure that part out, right? Can we just figure that part out? No. Alright. Alright, we'll leave it. Alrighty then. So, he's getting the comb cut. A comb cut is when you take, here, I'll zoom out a little bit. When you take a clipper, right, and you attach the comb to it, then you can cut longer on the fur. You can leave the fur longer, right? So that is the length that we're working with for him, right? Can we all say duh at the same time? 3, 2, 1, duh! I know. It is what it is. It is what it is. But then again, you never know what age group is commenting, right? It could be an 8-year-old, 12-year-old. You just never know. So... now there is a way I could tweak my settings so that I know that no children are on the channel, but we haven't quite done that yet. Not sure if I'll do that or not, but I do make sure that I put in my settings that the videos are not made for children, obviously, since I swear like a sailor, right? So, and if you didn't know that and you don't like swearing, you might want to get the fuck off this page. Just saying. Right? Bye-bye. Wait. Really? So nice of you. Thank you. Anyway, this is Oz. He's getting a little bit of low and slow drying. And then we're going to fluff him out at the very end using a different dryer called the Shalandi. That, can you see it? See the little Shalandi dryer? That's about 80 bucks on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon sells them for about 80 bucks. It's the perfect little cat dryer. Oh, well, thank you. Aw. Aw. Thank you, Two Skulls. Ping, finished. You're waiting for the dryer box to go ping, finish? Okay. Just trying to keep it. This is where I normally do Q&A, people, when the cat's in the dryer box. So if you have any actual questions, I will read them out loud and then answer them for you, right? Which is, you know, difficult to do, apparently. The questions usually only come in when I'm actually grooming the cat and being eaten alive by trolls. But the minute I ask for the questions, zip, nada. You want to know why? Because it's just a game, right? It's just a game. All right, we have a question. Sebro, how long have you been grooming cats? Since 2007. Can we count? So that would be 18 years. Nope. Use the M word, and it's the kiss of death here in our live, right? Or the O word, M and O, not allowed. What state am I in? I'm on the East Coast, right? I am on the East Coast, so that was the question. What state am I in, right? Mentally, physically, or location? I'm assuming you meant location. Oh. Alrighty, next question. See that? Zip, silent, nothing. They only want to eat me alive when I'm actually grooming the cat, right? So. Oh. Oh, you're very welcome, Sebro. Nice to have you. So why don't you... What makes you think that I purposely ignored your question? This is perfect. Perfect. And okay, so the question is, it wasn't really a question, it was a statement. So this is Q&A, singer girl, right? Q&A. So this is when you would ask the question, right? But instead of asking the question, you took the time to make a snarky comment instead about me purposely ignoring your question, which probably is not what happened, because at the time there was probably 1,000 people on the live watching, and if it comes in too fast to my earpiece, then I can't hear all of the questions, right? So you wanting it to be all about you and that I purposely ignored you is not my issue, it's your issue, okay? So we are literally handing you a time when the cat is in the dryer box. That is the time for Q&A, right? That's how it works here on this one, right? But funny enough, she never came back. She never came back. She never asked the question. She just wanted to make a snarky comment. Why? Because you're all a bunch of shits. That's why. And school is out, right? You can always tell when school is out, right? Because you get these kind of questions, right? Yeah. They're not in school studying and pretending to be a good little boy and girl, right? Once they get out of school, all hell breaks loose. I wonder if their parents even know what they're up to. So again, we're getting another snarky remark regarding a viewer who asked a question, and we still don't have the question. Can we make it make sense, people? No, because it's just a game. I'm done. Done. Because it's a game. That's why. That's why the question was never repeated, because it was a game. It's just a game. Alright. Alrighty. We're going to do a blowout. I usually like to get the cat dry with 2 towels and then a little bit of low and slow drying, and then the final fluff out. Right? So we're going to do that right now. We're going to heat up the Schlandy dryer before he comes out of there. Give it about 1 minute to heat up. I got an answer to one of the questions. The question was, how old is Oz? He's 8 years old. Alright. Q&A is over. I'm going to take him out of the box. Take him out of the box. And we're going to fluff him. Alright, 1, 2, and 3. That should be enough, right? You think that's enough? Is that, yeah. Can you breathe? Yeah. Alright, good. Here we go. side. Wow. There. Some of these off. There we go. Alright. How do you say shut the fuck up in French? Just wondering. Asking for a friend. Anyone know any swear words in French? Asking for a friend. Cheetah? What's that mean? You spell it phonetically. STFU? Sure. Alright. Thank you, Sonia. Sonia, sorry. Alright, cool. I'll do that next time. Right? Alright, one of the secrets to a good comb cut is to make sure the cat is fully dry. Right? You saw what we were doing with the drying, right? We did 2 towel wraps. I can hear you. we do Q&A when the cat is in the dryer box, but I can still follow along in the live, right? So I did hear you when you said that I was too busy to take your question. But the thing is, you never asked the question. Here we go again with it. Are you part of the same group playing that same game? Yeah, probably. That was Pink Paw Pal grooming spray, right? We're going to finish that comb out with one of these. This I get from Grooming. Oh, I think I'm pointing to a sticker that's not there. It used to be on my old dryer box. Rumor Supply House sells that one. The link is in my bio, themainlion.live, right? We got the space heater hitting the coat, evaporating out the dampness that's still in the coat. So, and no question. And still, no question. So, yeah. Alrighty then. And fluff. We're fluffing. We're fluffing. We're fluffing. Wow. Hello. Arigato. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Every ragdoll this size that comes to this salon, for whatever reason, has the best temperament. So maybe the bigger the better they are. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Well, thank you. Thank you for the subscription. 1, it's free. 2, I'll be able to hear what you say now, right? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Waka waka. Alright, so how do you get that perfect fuzzy teddy bear cut? Well, if you're a groomer, you get yourself a pair of chunkers, not any chunkers, right? Apparently they're not all the same, so this one is made by Groomer's Mart. This was recommended to me by a celebrity dog groomer. Yeah. And that is her favorite. And it looks so pretty. So pretty. You just get that really pretty polished finish, right? A lot of the comb cuts that I see being advertised and posted on people's social media are comb cuts you could have gotten with a blade, right? An actual real comb cut is a length that you would not be able to get with a blade. The cat is fuzzy and long. That is a true teddy bear cut, right? Which is why we distinguish the difference between what our velvet cuts are versus what our tiger and liger cuts are, because we're using comb attachments. Just because you use a comb attachment that's the same length as you could also get from a blade, does that mean you can call it a comb attachment cut? I guess so. Semantics are a groomer's favorite game, right? Apparently. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, muy bien, muy bien. little Spanish. Can you believe I used to live in Bolivia? I lived not just in Bolivia, but I lived in the jungles. Do you know what was in the jungles? Do you know it was forbidden to hunt? Hello. Hello, Canada. But guess what was in the jungles of Bolivia? But you weren't allowed to mess with them. Real tigers, right? Real tigers. How cool is that, right? Lots of monkeys. And if you're lucky, you found a meat source. Otherwise, you were eating bananas. Not just any bananas. The platanos. Cooking banana. I think I ate every form of dish made out of platanos you could possibly think of, right? And if you found a meat source, it was usually a little animal called a hochi, right? Looked like a weasel. Like a little weasel running around. Little gopher type animal. Yeah. Alright, so paws are done. And where do we begin? I guess we'll start with... Did we turn that off? No, we gotta put that back on. Alright. Why was I there? Yeah. Good inquiring minds want to know. You'll never guess. You'll never guess. But I saw some very amazing, interesting things. Yipper. They have porpoises in the waters. Long-nosed porpoises. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I was living next to the Yuta tribe. If you know anything about the Yuta tribe, right? Y-U-G-A. There's some pretty interesting pieces of equipment in the cabin. One was a refrigerator freezer that runs off of kerosene. And then they also had a little metal ring that you would fill with kerosene overhead your shower, right? You would fill it with kerosene, light it on fire, and somehow it would warm up the water just long enough for you to have like a 3-minute hot shower, right? Yeah, that was pretty cool. Lots of bats at night, lots of cockroaches. They had those really big ones that used to hiss. And if you stepped on them, they'd just laugh at you and walk away. Yeah, they were this big, these cockroaches, right? It's like little tanks, slow-moving tanks. There were monkeys, lots of birds, piranhas in the small lagoons, right? It was interesting. Alright, so we went against the grain to do the initial pre-cut, right? And then we're going with the grain. Going with the grain for the final finish, right? Yeah. You're going to see different groomers doing different ways of the same service request, right? Yeah. Yipper. And you have to sleep with a mosquito net. Yeah. And it's very easy to get blood poisoning because everything is very damp and humid. So every little cut gets infected. And eventually I ended up getting a red streak on my arm. I had to get flown out of the, choppered out, I guess. Was it a chopper? No. Yes? No? What was it? Oh, they had to go upstream in a paddle, get me to an airstrip, and then they flew me out because I had blood poisoning from just a little tiny cut. We got someone at the door. What time is it? They're just saying hello, I guess. Alright, see how he gets, when he gets on his feet, he just wants to go for a walk. Get them off their feet, and then you can finally get something done. So, yeah, one night, I was very new to sleeping with a mosquito net. It was probably one of my first nights there. I would always need to keep a glass of water next to my side, right? For whatever reason, I had the glass of water outside of the mosquito netting. There was nowhere to put it inside. You just spill and get your bed wet, right? And I remember distinctly drinking from it at night, right? When I woke up in the morning, there were 3 dead cockroaches in the water. That was my first trauma-based experience. There were more to come, but that was the beginning, the first. That was the beginning of the first trauma-based things that happened that I will never forget, right? Alright. Everything else I'm just going to do by hand, right? This is going to get me close to where the length should be, and then I usually rely on my hand scissoring to finish. Oh, there's so many things that happen. Oh, God. Oh, my God. And no, I wasn't down there for vacation. If that's what you're wondering. Nope, 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 nope. No, 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 no. I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about half of what went on down there. But apparently, if you know what a coconero is, they're the people with the cigarette boats going up and down the river. And what they do is they talk the tribal people into growing a certain green plant, right? And then they talk them into using their machete to create a landing strip so that they can fly it out, right? And they do it. Apparently, one of them decided they were going to use the landing strip that we were using on a farm that we were staying at. And they must have radioed in that they were going to land. And the owner of the ranch was like, "You're not landing on my farm." Because she knew they were coconeros, right? So what did they do? They pulled out their pew-pew and started shooting at all of us standing on the runway to block them from, you know, landing. Yeah. Women and children, we all ran for our lives. They landed on the strip regardless. They basically do whatever they want to do. They rule that area because they have the power and the guns and the money, right? Alright, this is where I do the hand stuff, right? And the woman who owned the ranch that we were staying on, she was a very godly woman, right? Her name was Marge Day. And when she was very young, I think like 17, they literally parachuted her into the jungles of Bolivia, right? She parachuted down into the jungles. And in the course of 50 years, managed to create a school. She created a school on the river. And what she would do is go up and down the river and collect all of the school children from the tribe people. And they would come back to her school where they would stay. They would get room and board. And the children would be taught, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic, things like that. Because these are children from tribes that would never have known there was anything like that. Some of these tribal people, they never leave the jungle, right? Their whole life is the jungle, right? So, anyway, that was fairly interesting, right? And they had a farm of different animals that they would use to feed the children. And they had a pen way off to the side, you know, because it was smelly. And the pen housed not just pigs, these were hogs. So these hogs were like the size of a small Volkswagen. They were huge, right? Huge. And every school year, they would unalive one of them. And it was a whole ritual, meaning the whole school got involved, all the school children were involved. I was down there by the pen when they were getting ready to do the hog, right? And what was happening in the pen was I was having a hard time understanding what I was looking at. Apparently, the hogs, smart as pigs, I guess, because they're very smart. The hogs were all huddled up, and the one that was about to get shot knew he was the one, and he was off to the side, and he was like this the whole time. He just knew he was the one who was going to get it. My question is, how did that hog know he was the one? How did the group know? Right? How did the group of hogs know he was the one who was going to get it? That's the part I don't understand. Anyway, after the deed was done, what they do is the first thing they do, you can probably guess what's the first thing they do, right? The first thing they do is let out a certain body fluid, right? And then they bring the hog over to the school in this big indoor-outdoor cafeteria. And then there's just children sitting all down a table just like this, but going down like 50 feet. Just 50 children on either side. And their job was to take portions of the hog and dice it into little tiny cubes. For what? To boil it down into fat. So basically the fat from the hog is what they would use in all of their cooking, right? So, to feed the children, right? So there was a lot of fat used and added to the dishes, right? And breads. Oh, the breads. They would make homemade breads with the fat as well, right? So needless to say, every night I would dream about Dunkin' Donuts. I would dream about the life I used to have and the foods I used to eat. right? Because what was available, yeah, it was rice and more rice with very little flavor. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah. I guess I was spoiled as an American, right? You go from having all of these choices in America to then going to a jungle where you have very limited resources. Yeah. So every night I would dream of Dunkin' Donuts. And my cream-filled Boston creams. Things like that. That's what helped put me to sleep. I laugh about it now. Okay? The children were the most amazing part of that experience. Just bright-eyed, wanting to learn. Okay? They were taught, you know, your basics, math, reading, things like that. March Day was a very godly woman, so she also had a Bible class, right? So, taught them the word of the Lord, taught them about Jesus. Yeah. When I was there, she was probably in her 70s, right? Talk about a rugged woman. She literally pioneered a sliver of the jungle, all for herself to help the children. So, anyway, are we there yet? You're probably not going to see a whole lot of, well, besides, you know, my favorite, Katsini. Katsini, I don't know if she's on YouTube. She's a female cat groomer from Malaysia. She does this hand scissoring finish on her teddy bear cuts, which, by the way, are exquisite. Her teddy bear cuts are exquisite. Normally, you're not going to see hand scissoring like this. You're going to see a comb attachment with something called a clipper back. And so as you're running it through the coat, the vacuum is sucking up the fur, and the final finish is with this, right? And you attach the vacuum onto the top of your clipper, right? This is my preferred style and technique to get that fuzzy wuzzy was a bear, teddy bear look, right? It's my own personal preference regarding teddy bear cuts, right? If you want them long and fuzzy. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't heard anyone say anything for a while. Did I lose my sound? Or were you just too stunned to speak? Were you too stunned to speak? Start talking about my jungle stories. You want more? You want more jungle stories? Alright, so I'm sitting next to the river with members of the Yuta tribe, and their favorite game, it was grapefruits, was to wait for the porpoise to surface out of the water and blow air out of its hole. And when it would do that, they would try to peg the porpoise with one of the fruits, right? And even though I didn't speak Yuta and they didn't speak English, somehow we were able to communicate by just drawing in the sand and the dirt. And we were having a good old time, right? Everyone just understood what was being said. How amazing is that? Just by drawing pictures. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Mm. Some of these stories I can't probably repeat. Yeah, half of the stories I wouldn't ever be able to repeat. Yeah. Yipper. I'm just trying to look for the G-rated ones. Alright, this is where he goes wonky, because once you get him on his feet, he tends to go for a walk. So, this is normally how I'm going to do the back legs. I'm just going to scoop under, 3 fingers scruff, 2 fingers holds the tail, and I'm going to trim the fur. But he no like me. So, and then he'll start going for a walk. So, he has to get off his feet in order for him to be groomed. Otherwise, he goes, bye-bye. Right? I remember being told at the cabin next to the water in the jungles, don't ever let the Utah tribe, don't ever let them know what ice cubes are. I'm like, say what now? Don't ever give them a drink with ice in it. So apparently ice was a secret. Because if they knew there was such a thing as ice, they would be lined up asking for it. And they didn't want to turn it into a nuisance, right? Because it's hot, you know? It's hot out there in the jungle. If they knew ice cubes existed, they'd be on that like, you know what? So I thought that was funny. The one thing that I noticed when I was outside of the jungle in the Cochabamba area was just how poorly they treated dogs, right? Yeah. If you ever came back in your next life as a dog, pray that you're not one in Bolivia, put it that way. It was really bad the way they were treating the dogs. It was bad. Apparently there's no pet activists, animal rights in Bolivia. But they were protecting the tiger. You can't do anything with the tiger or she get arrested or something, right? You can't kill them. But if you stumble across a dead carcass, like a certain member did that I knew, you can take it. Oh, okay, got it. Here's a little loophole. Here's a little loophole. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? You ever watched Burmers finishing with poodles with their comb and spray and doing the hand scissoring? It's the same. Everything is exactly the same, right? Everything is exactly the same. So if you have really good hand scissoring techniques and then you have a client, cat client, who has a nice even temperament, you're going to be able to do this style, no problem, right? No problemo. So anyway, I was there for about 6 months, I guess. So I learned Spanish in that I could understand what people were saying to me. I just couldn't say it back. If that makes any sense. Kind of get the gist. Here's another trauma-based memory. Apparently, you're supposed to close the chicken coop at night. I was in charge of the chickens. We heard a rustling outside. something was in the chicken coop, and they told me to go outside. It was dark, and make sure if there's no one in the chicken coop, make sure it's closed, right? Yeah. All right. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Alright, let us close up in here. Go in real close. I'm going to turn the sound off, check in a client. I'll be right back. Thought I turned the sound off. Guess not. Alrighty then. Alright, where were we? He's like, you were talking about outside, the chickens. Alright, that's right. Alright, so I had to go outside. Terrified, right? It was dark out. Pitch dark. In the jungle, it's pitch dark. All the trees are covering up the stars. It is black. It's very dark. You gotta bring your flashlight. So, when I think about it now, I think I was probably being punked. But, because I was a girl, a young girl, like in my 20s. And there were two grown-ass men in the house. Why were they sending a young girl out in the middle of the dark to take care of a strange sound? I mean, there were actual tigers out there, right? So, terrified, right? All I had was a flashlight. So the first thing that happened were the bats, kamikaze diving down over my head. Right? That was terrifying. Went to flash my lights on the chickens, and the chickens were literally covered in head to toe with little tiny insects. That alone was scary. It looked like one of the chickens had been dragged off by some unknown creature. Probably a hochi, because they're part weasel, and that's what weasels do. So it was probably a hochi. Right? Anyway, came back inside. Honestly, I feel like I was probably being punked, because that was one of the most terrifying things I've ever had to go through, right? Made sure all the chickens were in their hut. The door was closed. Yeah. And the chickens were there for their eggs, right? They use the eggs. But also to eat You know, once they're fully grown, to eat them. Once they're, you know, maybe once a week we'd have some kind of meat source, right? Was I in a cult? You could say it was a cult. Some people call it that, but not like the typical cult that you hear about. It was a denominational religious organization, but it wasn't like, they were just wanting to, with March Day, just wanting to help the children, that sort of thing, right? It was like that. Anywho, I've got some really, really good stories, but none of which I could probably say in this live. So, I'm not sure what I can and cannot talk about. So, 'cause I'm fairly new to YouTube, so I don't really know what are all the, you know, I really don't know. STFU. There. We're just responding to someone who's speaking a foreign language that we can't hit a translator button to reply back because they don't offer that. They'll offer a translator button in the comment section once the video is posted, but during a live, there's no translator button. There's no way of knowing what the person just said. So, all right. He's like, are we there yet? Pretty much. You just gotta taper back your knee. Give it a little bit of a polish. Now I can go back over this real quick with the comb just to try to make it as even as possible, which you would think you wouldn't have to do since you just hand finished it. But these comb cuts are like the never-ending broom. That little dryer will show you where you still need to fix something, right? But you really need to learn how to stop, right? Otherwise, you would be doing a comb cut for hours if you don't know how to stop, right? You will always see something that needs fixing. Never ending. Groom. Wow. Wow. You did it. Wah. Wah. Alright, tail stop. Let's just make sure that where the body hits the tail, it's nice there. A little too zoomed in, sorry. So where the tail hits the body, we're just going to clean that up. Bring that up a little higher. Are we there yet? Can you do the mean? Wham. Alright. Now something I like to do is see if I can get the cat to sit or stand up. So what we have to do is look for these points. This is what I call points, where everything connects, where the body connects with the legs. Right? Sometimes I have to lift the cat up slightly just so I can see what's happening. seeing where all the lines are hitting, right? All right, and mane. One glorious mane. What are we gonna do with that? Well, I'm usually gonna reach for my missile, right? It's not quite a blender. Thinning shears is not quite a chunker. It's kind of like in between. You got this. You need it. Hee. There. And if you want a softer polish, go back to the thinning shears for a softer edge. You need it. Wee. All right, let's see. Let's see. She's like, are we there yet? Yepper. Yes, we are. All right, last step. Get rid of all the fuzz bunnies. I don't like the dryer that I'm gonna use for that. So I'm gonna put this on. All right. Whenever you use that dryer, you get all of those imperfections, right? Like I said, you gotta know when to stop. Otherwise, you will just keep grooming that cat, right? You gotta know when to walk away and say, okay, we're there, right? All right, you did it. You did it. All right, say goodbye to Oz. We're going to get him back in his little carrier. There. Say bye-bye. There. Good buddy. Best boy ever. This is his natural temperament. I have about 3 of these big boys who are Ragdoll, same size. It's just, he just comes from spectacular breeding to get that kind of temperament, right? So, say goodbye to Oz. Could this be any smaller, buddy? He's like, what do you mean? I mean, it's the same size as you. He's like, how do I get in there? Well, you could go in through the side, but I just figured you could figure that out. No, you can't. He's like, I can do it. All right. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. All the best. Take care. Two Skulls, if you're still here, I love you. Thank you. All the best. Take care. There you are. Love you. Bye. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next time.